Hallo zusammen! I bet some of you guys might already be quite aware of the ambiguity in most of Till Lindemann's lyrics. Along with many other stylistic figures and devices that he likes to use quite often, for instance antonyms, meaning semantic opposites of things, he also likes to incorporate ambiguous terms and expressions quite a lot in Rammstein's lyrics. So since you're A, interested in Rammstein I guess, and B, might want to learn some German, let's merge those two things, let's combine these things and talk about a few examples of semantic ambiguity in the Rammstein lyricism, in the lyricism of Till Lindemann. But first of all, before we're gonna dive deep into a couple of examples, let's actually talk about what semantic ambiguity actually means. The adjective semantic, semantisch in German, is a linguistic term for meaning-wise or meaning-related. Die Semantik, the semantics, is all about the combination of A term, and B, the associated and expressed meaning. Whereas many terms carry one specific meaning, other words have developed at least one additional meaning which applies to specific situations. That's also why the context is a very important factor in everything related to die Ambiguität, the ambiguity, which arguably is a rather linguistic technical term, commonly known as die Doppeldeutigkeit, the double meaning of a term, or die Mehrdeutigkeit, the multiple meanings of a term. To be fair, an ambiguity can also occur by accident, meaning without any intention of having it there, but in the case of lyricism, I think it's very likely that almost all ambiguous expressions have been put in these texts on purpose. The first example for a well-rounded and also quite specific ambiguity can be found in the 1997 Rammstein hit song Du Hast. The first verse starts with the three-part line structure Du hast, du hast mich. You have me. Now, you might be a bit surprised to hear me say this, but in written form, there's no ambiguity here at all. The double meaning of the phrase du hast mich is based on the phonetic side of things, meaning the sound of this expression just when you hear it. The key word in this one is hast. It's the second person, singular, simple present indicative active form of the verb haben, to have got. That's why du hast mich translates to you have me, or you have got me. However, we also have a German verb hassen, which means to hate. It might as well be referred to as a phrasal verb. Jemanden hassen, to hate someone. The analog conjugated verb form of hassen in this context would be du hast mich. As we can clearly see, this verb contains a double S, which isn't true for the aforementioned hast. In other words, we have a clear difference in the spelling. Both conjugated verbs sound exactly the same. That's why this particular example is something like a semantic tonal ambiguity, if you will. You basically need to know more about the context in order to be able to decide whether this is supposed to mean haben, to have, or hassen, to hate. In the context of this song, which seems to deal with questions of loving each other, or, well, not so much, being together and a potential soon-to-happen marriage, plus the knowledge that the following line continues as Du hast mich gefragt und ich hab nichts gesagt. You have asked me and I didn't say anything. This could either lead to A. You have asked me whether I'd like to marry you, but I'm not positive and I'm not interested, and or B. You hate me, yet you're somewhat in love with me, and you even want to marry me. What the hell? There are more things about the rest of the lyrics and the music video accompanying the track that could be said here, but since I've already made a whole dedicated video about this song and its lyrics, what they translate to in English and more, I'd suggest watching that video for more information on Du hast. Just click the linked video during the end card of this video. The next example can be found in the 2004 hit single Amerika. It's a rather sarcastic song about America's imperialist tendencies, especially on an economic and political level. Since it is intended to be an ironic song which criticizes these things lyrically, you can find many subtle and indirect references to these just mentioned and other things. Let's take a look at the second verse. We got two interlinked lines that go: Und wer nicht tanzen will am Schluss, weiß noch nicht, dass tanzen muss. And those who don't wanna dance at or in the end don't know they Literal translation, he, probably meaning prominent male politicians at the time, such as Iraq's former president Saddam Hussein, will have to dance. In the German language, the verb tanzen usually is a neutral and even positive verb. It means to dance. I mean, that's fun, I guess. But here, this meaning only fits the surface, the superficial level of the lyrics, so to speak, which seem to be quite bright and positive at first sight. I mean, the lyrics even mention Mickey Mouse, in standing in front of Paris, woohoo, the city of love. Great. This refers to the idea of America exporting their big cultural impacts and the entertaining industry to the whole world. Embedded in this specific critical context, dancing isn't meant positive at all. But in order to comprehend this ambiguity, which is based on having a light, superficial, positive meaning and a deeper critical level of the lyrics, we also need to know about a certain German idiom. It goes, nach meiner Pfeife tanzen, to dance according to my whistle. Translated literally, meaning to act and live according to my standards and rules, without discussing or reflecting on that. Just do it. An English equivalent would be to dance to someone's tune or bidding. So with this background knowledge in mind, the lyrics lead to thoughts like, we have to force our will and morals upon these leaders and countries we've evaluated as being dangerous for the world, or even maybe just for us. This semantic background might explain the translation and the use of the phrase containing a seemingly innocent verb like tanzen a bit more clearly. The third and final example, at least in this video, is a quite recent one because it was actually mentioned and used in the new Rammstein song Deutschland, Germany, which I've already made a couple of videos about, but I haven't really tackled on this example right here. So let's find out what could be ambiguous in the lyrics to this song. The second half of the verse features many terms beginning with the prefix über, which can mean above or over something or someone. It also exists as a totally separate preposition. Da hängt eine Spinne über dir. There's a spider hanging over you. Oh no. The three lines I'm gonna talk about feature two of these terms each, which are semantically related or seemingly opposed to each other. They either are verbs or adjectives. Überheblich, überlegen, übernehmen, übergeben, überraschen, überfallen, arrogant, superior, taking over, handing over, surprising, raiding or hijacking. Along with reading or hearing the adjective überheblich, arrogant, the adjective überlegen implies the meaning of to be superior, meaning to be above things. And while this indeed works perfectly fine for the intended meaning, referring to certain areas of Germany's troublesome history, especially the Third Reich and the Nazi ideology of being superior to everyone and those kinds of things, überlegen could also be comprehended as the infinite verb that looks, reads and sounds exactly the same. Überlegen, to think about or reflect on something. In this sense, both words combined could also imply überheblich überlegen, to think about something in a superior or arrogant manner. The first verb in the second line, übernehmen, can mean to take over something, for instance taking over meaning adopting something and continuing a task from someone else who has pursued this activity before, or in the context of the song, conquering other nations and countries, basically absorbing and annexing them and making them a part of your own territory by defeating them in a battle or war. However, there is a German expression that goes sich mit etwas übernommen haben or sich mit etwas übernehmen. Here, the conjugated, respectively the infinite verb übernehmen, means to overextend oneself on something. You have evaluated your possibilities and capabilities wrongly, and the task you chose turns out to be too big, or too complex, or too difficult, or simply impossible for you to master and work on. The word übergeben is another verb, which means to hand over something to someone else, for instance in the sense of giving away and delegating a task to someone else. But it can also mean to vomit, depending on the context. In that case, it could also very well be a phrasal verb, sich übergeben, oneself having to vomit. Ich muss mich übergeben. As you might have noticed, you wouldn't translate the reflexive pronoun sich or mich in this case to English. So this meaning in the context of the song could refer to an increased weakness and vulnerability of a big conquering nation, for instance, that has absorbed many territories, but now this new situation might also lead to even more enemies, to even bigger problems and riots, civil wars or the like. From the perspective of the conquering country, this dangerous and unwanted or even unforeseeable weakened situation might have resulted from a task which was too impossible or impractical to begin with, but out of ideological reasons and beliefs, all this was tried and done nonetheless. Alright guys, thank you so very much for your interest and for taking the time to watch this and my other Rammstein videos in particular, because that is really, believe it or not, it's really mind-blowing for me personally, because as I've mentioned before on different occasions, I'm not really used to that, being a comparatively little YouTuber, which, well, likes to make videos about the German language and culture and about music, because I love music and I love Rammstein. So this is just great. This makes my day on a daily basis at the moment, honestly. So big thumbs up for that from Germany. By the way, a very easy and also very effective way of wanting to say thank you, thanks for this video, Dave, apart from writing really lovely comments, thanks for those as well, is by sharing my videos, sharing my stuff, spreading the word about my Rammstein videos, about my channel, what I'm doing here. That really helps a lot. Thanks for doing that in advance to every one of you guys. And also thanks for your previous support on my latest Rammstein videos, and in general, I'm out of words. Also, if you have ideas or specific suggestions for things that I could talk about in upcoming videos, also related to Rammstein maybe, well, feel free to let me know. Rock on everybody, I'm your Vlog Dave. Tschüss und bis zum nächsten Mal.